And this is a project which is very dear to the president. Whatever it requires, whatever it needs, has been
Mubenya breakfast, enya mo lunch edi, menya mo snacks. Afresu boya no a mubenya market no mienu. Be party amam. Amoni ade amam mo ni angoda mo dia. Ebi akoma oye ne mo mba ne ade ne mo maame no omudi. Because December no you come mienu full salary. Ebi ba ko middle of the month, e ba ko so 31st. Am a general no mo wan dey. Anchiri.
Right. Welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is still Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. And this is time with the CEO of the Minerals Commission. But today we're not having Mr. Martin K. Ayisi with us on the show. Instead, we're having Dr. Louise Carol Serwaa Donkor, and she's the coordinator of the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program. Quite a long name there. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. Please, on this show, you are the only doc.
Oh, no. You end
So
it, let me respect it.
Carol is fine.
You end it.
Okay.
So, if it were Amari, I wouldn't have referred to it.
Okay. All right. No
So that's
problem.
fine. Anyway, how are you?
I'm doing all right. It's been a lot of traveling to the districts. It's been a lot of commuting here to meetings and there, given the circumstances that we're in, you know, with small-scale illegal mining. Yes, but I'm doing well. We are pressing forward towards the goal.
National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program. What is it?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Abe, and
Randy is fine.
Randy is fine. You see, so then Carol and then Randy,
That's
if
fine.
you will agree
That's
to
okay.
that.
That's okay.
Okay, so Doc, this whole thing, National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, for illegal miners, that is actually, you know, the focus. So the name is National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program for illegal miners. And
So it's
I mean,
not
you've
for
been
everyone.
no, it's not for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, you know, something carved specifically for those that we need to take care of, given you know, the work that we did with Operation Halt, Galam Stop, and all of that, and people were, you know, demobilized for, you know, some time. But I'll give a little, you know, background to this whole thing, and I'm sure you know all of this already, but for the purposes of those watching us, the issue of Galamsey did not start today. It's been years and decades of degradation that has brought us to this point. And I always say that, you know, since the 1970s till this point, people have been involved in Galamsey or small-scale illegal mining. We've had foreigners even from that time who have been part of this, you know, Galamsey thing. Now Ghanaians are outraged. We are all, you know, it's become a national security issue because of what we are seeing that it's doing to our water bodies, what it's doing to our forests, and what it's doing to our farmlands. Because our very livelihood, our very sustenance, which is the earth supporting us, is really at risk, is under threat. So we are here today because of these decades of degradation. Yes, the president made an intervention with Galam Stop, sending task force, soldiers, police, and, you know, a combination of different professionals as task forces to the field to clear this menace. When we made some inroads, we made some gains with clearing some of these people from the illegal mining sites. We discovered through our research that there are a number of people, 1 million plus, who have no jobs. And when we come to the Galamsey enclave, if I may use the word, it's not just the boys or the young men who dig the pits. It's also about food vendors. It's also about those renting machines. You know, some of them operate small tools to hire, to rent. Sometimes it's even big machines and all of that. So that intervention also made us come to this point where people don't have jobs. Now we need to be able to find jobs for them. And that's why the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program came to being. I need to also make reference to the fact that when people used to do Galamsey in the past, they were not using very complex tools as we have it today. Now,
No excavators.
exactly,
Or
you
some
know,
funds.
exactly. 5 years, you can be on one concession and you can be, you know, getting something good out of it. Now, 4 to 6 months with excavators, they are done. They're looking for the next, you know, gold. And so that has really posed a huge challenge for us, as you know. And that's why the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program is in. And it's meant to achieve 3 things. One is to be able to restore our degraded lands. 2 is to be able to provide, you know, alternative employment for the people who have been affected by our sanitation of the industry. And the third one is to be able to promote mechanisms for sustainable ways of mining. We know that aside the fact that they are doing it illegally, they are also doing it unsustainably. and we need to be able to direct them to do it sustainably, and that's what this whole program is about. Yeah.
All right, so let's zoom in straight into those three issues, because I want to find out what exactly you're doing. So on the issue of the first one, you speak about reclamation.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with this?
Okay.
The lands are degraded, we can see it. We saw in one instance in the Western region, there's 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days of galamsey activities. We saw the devastation.
Yeah.
So on the issue of the degraded lands and their reclamation, what are you doing? How are you going about it? What are you doing?
Yeah. So, Doc, I'm very glad that we all seem to know the issues very well now, which is the extent of degradation that we are all facing. If you look at this, you know, I have this sheet here.
Yes.
It contains
just
all
lift it
the.
up a second. I'll come and pick it up.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
So you were asking about the our efforts with land reclamation.
Yes.
So 2 things. Before we reclaim a land, the target for now, because of the state of our river bodies or water bodies, is to be able to reclaim lands which are in some close proximity to those river bodies. And the second one is that they have to be mined out. So we don't want a situation where, we go and then reclaim or restore a land that the miners themselves don't believe that, they are done.
So these are like abandoned sites.
Yes.
They're done,
Mined
they've moved out. Yes.
And then they are in close proximity to our water bodies.
Okay.
So when you look here, so we are reclaiming lands which are close to Pra, to Ankobra, Ofein, Brim, those main rivers that we have. So this is, if I can say, some form of hydrological representation of Brim. Yeah. If you come to Brim, we have Abomusu that we are reclaiming lands there, Afiesa 1, Afiesa 2, Apapam. I should have brought for the rest, but when you go to Pra River, for instance, some of the communities there, Adakabonso 1, Adakabonso 2, Esiwa 1, Esiwa 2, Enyinase, Beposo, Yapesa, Kokobin. You come to Ankobra, Nambrum is there, Nkatieso is there, Swino is there. And when you come to Pra, we have Inswayim 1, Inswayim 2, Inswayim 3. So when it comes to land reclamation, under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Ghana Landscape Project is reclaiming some lands. The Minerals Commission...
Ghana Landscape Project.
Yeah, Landscape Restoration Project. Okay. Yeah, headed by Dr. Krugu. They are also into that.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, it's quite new. Yeah. Yeah. And there is the Ghana Forest Investment Program. They are also into land reclamation. Minerals Commission, EPA, and then NAELP. NAELP, so far, if you go to the field and you want to see what is tangible that we are doing, we are reclaiming 1,000 hectares of land. And that is in Ankobra, Birim, and Pra. Communities,
what exactly are you doing? How are you doing it? What are you doing?
So I always say that, when people hear about land reclamation, once they see the undulated lands, you see that there are very, very deep pits. So for instance, you see on the screen that, we have all this water in very deep pits, right? What they do is that they extract that. So land reclamation is not just about getting sand and putting them in these pits, no. First, there has to be an environmental analysis, which EPA does. We need to know the level of contamination, what pollutants there are in the soil. And we do that because afterwards the land has to be put to economic use. And so we do that environmental basis. There are environmental specialists, geoscientists who are on the field with project managers doing the extraction of the pollutants from the soil. Then there has to be, there is also a side where, like, let's say, the architects, they have to reconstruct the land because you see, it's like stairs. It goes up, it goes down, and it's not leveled. So they have to have some drawings on how to reconstruct the land. part of the reconstruction of the land is to be able to determine whether we should still continue to have the water pass through the same stretch, if I may call it so, that it used to pass, or should we redirect the stream from, you know, where we feel that people will still come and tamper with it.
Right.
So all of that is part of land reclamation. And afterwards, with the areas where we need to restore life or vegetation back to it, you have to top it with black soil. And so from there, we are able to plant economic trees, rubber, coconut, oil palm. But there will be another environmental analysis to be able to determine whether there are any more pollutants, or is there any more contamination in the soil to any extent which will be detrimental to, let's say that if we planted oil palm or coconut, because that is edible. So we cannot plant some of these on soils that we discover that to this extent we can't go any further in drawing the pollutants out of it. Then that one we will do timber trees, teak and all those things on it. They are all economic trees. So that is the land reclamation.
Okay. So just hold on there.
Okay.
I hear you speak about an extensive thing, very extensive. Now, how old is your organization? We are almost 1 year. Okay. End of October, so we are 2 weeks shy of being in our first anniversary. So where are you?
Yeah.
At which stage are you in this entire process?
We are reclaiming lands. Okay. I've just mentioned.
I'm saying at which stage? Where are you now? Are you continuing with things that have been done by other agencies, or this 1,000 hectares is something you've started?
Okay, so with land reclamation, we have started. This is the government's consolidated program for alternative livelihood and employment and the restoration of degraded lands. Because mostly things exist in silos. So now there is the concerted effort to pull all, because you see, even alternative livelihood, when you go to MDF, alternative livelihood is there. Mincom has alternative livelihood, but to what extent is it being executed? So formally what it's been is that seedlings like oil palm is raised and then is distributed to the mining communities. Now all of that is being merged under a bigger alternative livelihood and employment program to be able to have better impact, right? So that is what is happening. And the fact that maybe other agencies are doing it does not inhibit NAELP from even having to make that intervention.
I want to know where you are.
Okay.
At which stage you are with respect to the reclamation with 1,000 hectares. Where are you? Are you done?
Okay, so when you go to, let's say, the ones that we're doing around Ankobra, we are 59% complete. Okay. The ones around Birim, I think that one is 35%. Well, I was going to mention the contrast. So Birim, there are two sites. We have the Efiesa, Abumusu, Apapam, and then Efiesa. There is one which is 59%. There is one which is 35%. And then when you come to River Pra, we have 56% completion.
So it's ongoing?
Yeah, it's ongoing.
So let's move to your step 2, employment.
Okay.
Yes.
What's
the
being
strategy?
done? Yeah. Okay. So I think we will tackle it 3 ways. One is about nursing of seedlings, which we've been able to create 80,000, engaged 80,000 people. We can go into that.
And these are hitherto illegal miners?
Yes, so potential illegal miners and then illegal miners.
Okay.
And then, see, that's why I gave the architecture of the people involved in that enclave. There are food vendors as well. So it's not only those people who are mining, there are people who are all interdependent within that industry. And they are all, you know, they all have been affected. So, you know, the seedlings aspect is there. And then, you know, we have our fish farming projects. Then we have our technical, industrial, and vocational skills training. So I will just come to that. But before that, let me just give a little overview about what the modules are. What are we trying to do? What are we intending to do? One, we've already mentioned land reclamation and reforestation. The second one is agriculture and agro-processing. That is there because when these other alternatives existed with MINCOM, with MDF and all of that, you know, they have developed, you know, huge plantations of oil palm. What's the next step? Is to be able to take them to agro-processing to add some value to it. So that aspect is there. The third one is about apprenticeship, skills training, and entrepreneurship. With that, we're going into fish farming, and I'll do all that breakdown because I know everybody is always interested in, oh, is it going to give them money? Is it viable? Is it profitable? Because that is actually, you know, the end goal, right? So from that, we have mine support services. You see, some of the galamseyers, or almost all of them, they estimate that this land would have gold. They go, they just hit there, and sometimes they don't find it in the quantities that will let them stay there even for longer. So when we keep telling them, even through the media, that please reclaim what you've done, because now it can't just be government, it has to just be all of us, you know, helping. They've not made any money, so how are they going to spend money to be able to do that? They're not going to do that. So the mine support services, we work in with Geological Survey, Minerals Commission, and of course even some of the large-scale mining companies. They take a concession. There are parts that there are, you know, we have the gold or whichever mineral. They're not in quantities which are profitable to them. That is entered into a database, and that's why we are saying that the government is not against mining. What the government is against is the illegal and unsustainable ways of mining. So if you want to mine, come through the right process, get, you know, your concession, which we are constantly updating through exploration activities for you to get that. So when you do get a concession, you just don't go there, it's just, you know, gonna last you for 4 months or 5 months and then you are on to the next thing. No. Once it's in quantities which can keep you or maintain you for 5 years, you're going to stay there for longer. So that's also another support that, you know, we are meant to give. There is community enhancement, you know, project, and then a couple of others. But yes, you are interested in the jobs that we are creating. So we raised 20 million seedlings. Doc, when we say 20 million seedlings, we're not talking about 2,000 seedlings, and we're not talking about 20,000 seedlings. We are also not talking about 200,000 seedlings. And we're not even talking about 2 million seedlings, 20 million seedlings. If we had to estimate the kind of hands or labor that you would need to
20 million seedlings of what?
Oh, seedlings. So acacia, economic trees.
Okay.
Yeah, so timber trees, all of that. So you see,
and that's what you're doing now, or you have planted?
No, we have. We were
planted
anchored. You heard the Green Ghana Day. I'm not here to discuss the Green Ghana Day, but then we anchored our program. So you see, that's why I needed to give us the background. Yes, NAELP was launched. There is the, you know, challenge of unemployment, and two, we've got degraded lands. So we launched a massive reforestation agenda, and we anchored it on the Green Ghana Day.
Yes.
So we raised the 20 million seedlings for distribution across Ghana, because you see, it's not only
so
along the
The 20 million are both economic and non-economic.
Yes, because some people took some to them. No, but the 20 million, we raised only economic trees.
That's your organization?
Yes, we did just economic trees.
20 million?
Yes. You can come have the
so
audit reports.
You're nursing 20 million trees?
Yes, we have 5 seedling sites, 40 acres plus.
Okay.
We have, you know, it in Akwatia, Kwaso, Eastern region. We have it in Dinkra, which borders Central and Ashanti. We have Fufu in Ashanti. We also have it in Tetre, Ahafo. And then Western North, we have it in Akutum, right? So all these, and it was all evident. You see, that's why I brought that video, because that told the story. The sites are there. Today, you can send your journalists there to go and check. You saw some media people there. And we did all of that, you know. So let's say Akutum did the highest amount of seedlings. We actually have a satellite seedling site in Hohoi. And we did that because by our research, we discovered that, you see, we are trying to solve a problem. people already engaged in illegal mining. But as long as you are making that intervention for them, even as you're making that intervention in those places, there are those who will hear about them to want to come. And there are those that we also discovered that were trooping into the districts to come and work there. So people are moving from their regions to come to all these places. So once we noticed that there is a particular trend, we had to set something up in Hohoe to serve Oti and Volta to stop an influx of young people who, you know, come to the Galamsey districts or regions to come and work. And together, that's 80,000 seedlings, 80,000 people
Workers.
engaged. It's not easy because, you know, if you have to even fill a polysack for a day, I mean, that's why I gave the analysis of 20 million. It's not 1 million. And given that we are 2 weeks shy of our 1-year anniversary, and we were launched in October and we started this seedlings thing in January, to be able to produce for the July that we had to do Green Ghana, you had to engage a number of hands. And so that's how come we were able to engage these levels of people. We had casual workers and permanent workers. Casual workers a day receive 100 cedis. So at the end of the month, a minimum of 2,000 Ghana cedis for casual workers. For permanent workers, you get 700 Ghana cedis at the end of the month. But the good thing is that it is after tax, and your SNIT is paid, and you get your breakfast and lunch. Some of them even have accommodation for free. And because they are in adjoining communities and in the communities as well, they really don't take any transportation and all of that. And there are benefits.
I'm sure you'd
at
have
the
been
end
asked this question.
of the year.
How is 2,000 Ghana cedis a month enticing to a Galamsey?
Okay, that is a very good question. And what I say is that we need to recognize that Galamsey is illegal.
Yes.
Yesterday, somebody even asked the question that, oh, but, you know, Nana Akufo-Addo, there are a lot of illegal things happening. We've not, you know, found jobs for them. Why are we doing it for, you know, Galamseys? But I digress. Galamsey is illegal. And as I said, because I know there's a lot of, you know, Galamsey discussions here, I don't intend to sort of repeat some of them. But everything that we have under the soil, our minerals, it's for the president who is holding it in trust for all of us as Ghanaians. One person, two people, a number of, you know, persons cannot just hijack that, you know, for themselves. Galamsey has a lot of risk, you know. It comes with a lot of risk. You can die, you can be incapacitated, you are actually breaking the law. Perhaps a better question for us to ask is, what about the lives? If we think that somebody receives, let's say, even 1,000 Ghana cedis a week for doing Galamsey, what about the lives along the banks of all these rivers that I've mentioned? If you just take even, you know, Brim, I think Brim flows from Eastern through Ashanti, Central, Western before it gets into the ocean. How many communities, how many lives can we count along those river bodies? And are we saying that because somebody gets, this is not even millions or anything, even the Galamsey boys, what do they earn? It's the sponsors, the people who are sponsoring them to do it, who get the money. It is not even the boys. So when we say that, oh, they are saving money, it's just the consistency of going to is by day. They go today, they're able to get something. So, you know, because when people spend their monies before the end of the month, whatever you gave them at the end of the other month, it would have just gone. Poor management skills, you know, when it comes to, you know, money. So my thing is that a better question, or, you know, for us to focus on is that the lives along these river bodies, they cannot, you know, Galamsey's money can never be compared to these lives because of how our water bodies are. They interact with the water bodies there. They drink from that water body. The kind of, you know, catastrophe that we might experience in future, it can never be compared to what, you know, Galamsey's are doing.
The question really is
So,
how you get them.
I know,
to
but I
appreciate,
needed to set this background. I've not forgotten about that at all. But I needed to get our minds to the point that it is illegal.
Yes.
And it does not matter any amount of money. You could even be receiving $1 million a week, but it is no justification to put the lives of all our water bodies. We cannot create rivers again. This was given to us ages ago. The Creator has given this to us. 1 million cannot just create for us a river like Bream, you know, all afresh and all of that. So we need to get the context that it is illegal and there is no justification for it, regardless of the profits they are making.
They know that.
Once that is established, then we can go on to say that how are we making it attractive, you know, for them.
Yes.
There is sustainability in everything that we are doing. The main pillar for our work is that it must be sustainable. At the end of the project duration, 4 or 5 years, anybody that we gave jobs to, or we are planning to give jobs to, we want to make sure that they are sustainable jobs. And that is why we are giving vocational, technical, and industrial skills training very specific to the demands of the industry. People say that, oh, why haven't I been talking for long? Because I like to have my research and know the things that we want to be able to tackle and be certain about the things that we are doing before we speak. So for instance, heavy diesel mechanics, boiler makers, welders, auto electricians, riggers, drillers, drill rig mechanics. In the mining industry and even in the petrochemical industry, this is so expert driven. The government is always having to pay like extra to be able to maintain experts because we do not have these skills here. I know that the Energy Commission and I think even the Ministry of Energy, you know, is training.
Petroleum Commission.
Petroleum Commission, thank you. Yes, Petroleum Commission is training, you know, people in some of these skills. There is a reason for that. And that is what we are also latching on to extend. There are some trainings that when you give people at a certain certification, it's expensive though, but when you give it to them at a certain level, a certain grade, you won't have them even in Ghana.
Have you started or intend to start?
We are yet to roll out. We did the massive reforestation, the 20 million seedlings, and now our next program is our new beginning program, our Brabo Fufro for the skills training. Yeah.
Which institutions are you doing that with?
No, so when you say institutions...
Who will be doing the training for you? Are you partnering an institution?
Okay.
Because I know, for example, the Petroleum Commission is doing it with the Takrady Technical University.
Yes. So
because
it will
they
be,
have the faculty to do the training. Yeah.
So we did the audit of all the technical and vocational skills training centers in the mining districts that are there, and they are the ones we're going to work with. The minimum certification you're going to have is the MVTR, but we want to be able to scale it. But that is expensive, and you can have some trainers come from Australia or Canada to come and train them and give them a certain level of certification. That one, when they are done, it is not a small joke. They are easily integrated, and so that's what we are hoping to do. There is the fish farming. Let me just go into it. You see, people say that, oh, Galamsey, it's money. Can anything give, you know, people money aside Galamsey? You know, if you do not expose people to the different options which bring money, then we will keep on saying that it is only Galamsey which brings money. I know it's not just gold that people want, it is money that people want. So one of the modules that, well, I mean, as in programs that we would be implementing is fish farming. And I like to do the, you know, calculation for that because there is an organization in Europe which wants 40 tons of smoked fish a week. 40 tons of smoked fish a week. 40 tons of smoked fish a week for a catfish of 1 kg. For you to get 1 ton of that, that would be 1,000 fingerlings, so let's say 1,000 catfish. But you will have to multiply it by 3 because once you smoke, the size shrinks. Yeah. So with that, 40,000 times 3. So if one person is doing 1,000 fingerlings, that is 40,000 people at a go in less than 6 months to give them jobs. Times the 3 because you will have to do more to be able to smoke together 40 tons a week. So that is 120,000 people for a cycle, which is less than 6 months. I was going to say, use a different name, Doc. So 1 kg of catfish goes for 22 Ghana cedis minimum. 22 Ghana cedis times 2,000 fingerlings, or when you are done nursing your fingerlings, 2,000. Doc, how much is that? I think that is 44,000. Yeah, 44,000. Your training, your tarpaulin, your fingerlings, and your feed will just take 8,000 out of it. 8,000 means we have 36,000 Ghana cedis. Let's say that the government supports you with 1,000 Ghana cedis every month for the duration that you were nursing your fingerlings. You have 30,000 Ghana cedis. Doc, who doesn't want 30,000 Ghana cedis? And that is just for the first cycle. Once you are done with the first cycle, there are no other input costs, with the exception of you going to buy your fingerlings again. If you want 1,000 fingerlings, it's 1,000 Ghana cedis, and you buy your feed, and the rest of the money is yours. So we just need to get down, and that's why. So for us, we even with our research, we just didn't do desktop study. We just go, we sit with the galamseys, we ask them, because you need to really understand their motivation to the core to be able to fashion solutions for them.
All right, Carol,
yes,
we
sir.
need to continue with this conversation next week.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so you need to make time next week so we can continue with this, because we've not even spoken about sustainable mining yet, and I guess that even with employment there are quite a number of issues that we need to cover as well. A friend of mine even asked a question, Prosper Ashikwe. It had to do with the reclamation, and his issue says some of these lands were bought by the concessionaires. Who becomes the owners of these lands after reclamation? He wanted to find out. Yeah.
So community engagement experts are on the field, because I always say this in Chi, every land has its history, its impenyinsem or abakosem, right? So we need to be able to find that out. So our community engagement experts are on the ground, and we are finding that. But there are a number of solutions that we are exploring. When we did our stakeholder engagement, there were some who were of the opinion that it should just come to back to the chiefs, okay? But the module that we are tending to, favor is that it becomes, something in custody of the MMDCs, the chiefs, so a combination of sort of a committee that can overlook it, because we're going to plant economic trees there. It cannot be the possession of just one person without the government also benefiting from it. So once government has used its resources to be able to reclaim those lands, it will be in custody for, with a committee that has representation from traditional authority, MMDCs, the people, and of course, if we discover that the landowner didn't have anything to do with the selling of the land. So all of that is a learning process that we're gathering the information, because we just want to be specific to know about ownership of the particular lands that we are reclaiming. And once we have that, we will be able to come up with a better composite
all right.
answer.
Okay, all right. So